Hello there. In this video, we're in lesson 2.3, which is about slope and rate of change. And we are going to find the slope given 2 points where one or both of the numbers, one or both of the coordinates will contain a fraction. Here in number one, the first point is negative 1/6, second point is negative 4, negative 2/5. So you have a fraction here. So how do you do this problem? First of all, rate of change is the slope. And we all know slope is rise over run. And the rise you get from working with the y values. So in order to get the rise, you would subtract the 6 minus, in this case, negative 2/5. And then to get the run, that would be the change in the x's. Now, if you started with the 6 for the y's, you got to start with a negative 1 for the x's. So you need to take negative 1 minus negative 4. Now, when I subtract 6 minus negative 2/5, you know subtracting is the same as adding the opposite. So you end up with 6 and 2/5 in the numerator. And negative 1 minus negative 4, same as plus 4, is a positive 3. Now, you don't want a mixed number in the numerator of a slope. So we need to simplify all that. So there's a couple things you can do. Number one, dividing is the same as multiplying by the reciprocal. So I could take 6 and 2/5 and multiply by the reciprocal of 3. And the reciprocal of 3 is 3 over 1, is 1 over 3. In order to multiply with a mixed number, you change it to an improper fraction. So 6 times 5 is 30, 32 over 5 times 1/3. Then you look to simplify any numerator or denominator. See if I can get my mouse back. Any numerator or denominator. Any numerator, denominator. There's nowhere I can simplify. So all I go do now is multiply the numerators together, multiply the denominators together, and I have 32/15. As long as that's simplified, I can't divide by 2 in both, can't divide by 3 in both, then that will be my slope, which is the rate of change, which is rise over run. So I would tap in 32/15, and that would be the answer. All right, in my second problem, notice I have, we have rise over run, so we got to take the y values and subtract them. So 1 minus negative 1. And then the x values. So if I start with a 1 for my y's, I got to use a negative 3/7 for my x's. And I'm going to subtract the negative 2. And I end up with 1 minus negative 1, same as 1 plus 1, which is 2. Negative 3/7 minus, change that to plus. The opposite of negative 2 is positive 2. And I end up with 1 4/7. Just adding fractions. Negative 3/7 plus positive 2 is 1 4/7. Check it on the calculator. And then to simplify 2 over 1 4/7, I can change the 1 4/7 to an improper fraction. And just like we said in the first example, a fraction is division, and I have 2 divided by 11/7. So to divide 2 by 11/7, I multiply by the reciprocal 7/11. And there's no place to simplify numerators and denominators. So I multiply the numerator, and numerator I get 14. Multiply the denominators, I get 11. And I can't simplify that, so my slope would be 14/11. Now, I will mention that you should be able to do that without a calculator, but you can always check in the calculator. Like I took the negative 3/7 and I subtracted the negative 2. And that's where I got 1 4/7 in my denominator. And of course, you can manipulate it, use the calculator to help you find the final answer, which has to be simplified and as a fraction, because remember, slope is rise over run. It's a rate of change. Okay, now in this next example, it says find the rate of change between this 1/2 0 and negative 3 1/2. So I will take and find the rise over run. And to get the rise, I would subtract the y's. To get the run, I subtract the x's. So I have 1/2 minus negative 3. Again, I use the 0 to start out for my y's. I got to use the 1/2 to start out for my run. Now you need the subtraction. 0 minus 1/2 is negative 1/2. 1/2 minus negative 3 is the same as adding positive 3, would give me 3 1/2. Now, negative divided by positive, I know I'm going to get a negative slope. And now I have to simplify the 1/2 over 3 1/2. Well, over means divide. So I'm going to show you that work up here. I have 1/2, and I'm going to divide it by 3 1/2. Well, just remember, 3 1/2 can be written as 7/2. And 7/2, when you go to divide a fraction, you would multiply by the reciprocal, which is 7 over 2. Now, what's 1 times 7? 7. What's 2 times 2? 4. So my final answer, I knew it was going to be a negative, is going to be negative 7/4. Now, here's a perfect example. I went back to check before I entered this in GMM, and I noticed I made a mistake. Because when I went and I told you I was going to take the reciprocal, I never took the reciprocal. The reciprocal should be 2 over 7. So I should have had a 2 here and a 7 here. And when I multiply 1 times 2, I get 2. 2 times 7 is 14. I should get negative 2/14. Now, negative 2/14 can be simplified. You can divide by 2 here, divide by 2 here, and I should get negative 1/7. So I'm glad I caught that. And if I have an eraser, of course, I would take my eraser. Let's see if I can grab my eraser. And I would actually fix this right here. And I would fix this whole thing right here. And I'd take my pen, I would write this as 2 over 7, which gives me 2/14. That's a negative 2/14, and you'd simplify it to be this right here. So there's a great example of be careful where you could be making mistakes. All right, again, use the calculator to check it. You should be able to change any of these, even though they're fractions in the coordinates, and find the slope and simplify that slope. So do your best. Good luck on that. Skill 2.3b.